The Warrior's Whisper, Finding Strength in Softness. The first time I fell flat on my face in public, I was wearing a brand new suit and carrying a portfolio that cost more than my rent. 300 people watched. Not a single one helped me up. That moment taught me something I've never forgotten. The world will watch you fall, but getting back up, that's on you. Today, I want to share some extraordinary wisdom I gathered from someone who understands this journey intimately. Madeline Johnson, a true force of nature who has transformed countless lives through her mentorship and leadership. Her insights left me profoundly moved, and I believe they will do the same for you. What makes Madeline exceptional isn't just her impressive list of accomplishments, but her revolutionary approach to success, one that values softness as much as strength, community as much as individual achievement, and authenticity above all else. Madeline has created ripples of transformation that extend far beyond herself, rebuilding the landscape for underrepresented entrepreneurs everywhere. She doesn't just break glass ceilings, she crafts new skylights that let the sun shine on everyone below. Her work embodies what it means to rise by lifting others, a philosophy that's changing lives in boardrooms, classrooms, and living rooms across the country. Have you ever noticed how we're taught to measure our worth by how much punishment we can take, how many all nighters we can pull, how many times we can say, I'm fine when we're actually crumbling inside? That's not resilience. That's slow self destruction wearing a productivity mask. Real resilience, the kind Madeline Johnson champions, isn't about never falling. It's about what you do in the moments after you hit the ground. It's about the whisper inside that says, not today, I'm not finished yet. Consider the teens in Madeline's Entrepreneur Club. These young visionaries weren't born knowing how to pitch business ideas or navigate rapidly changing technology. Many came from backgrounds where opportunities were severely limited, where failure wasn't seen as a stepping stone, but as confirmation of what the world already expected of them. What transformed these teens wasn't some magical formula for instant success. It was Madeline's consistent message: never give up. It was creating a space where trial and error wasn't just permitted, it was celebrated as essential to growth. One young entrepreneur in the program had her presentation technology fail completely during a crucial pitch. Instead of crumbling, she took a deep breath, set aside her slides, and delivered her entire pitch from memory, more passionately than she ever had with the technology. That moment of apparent failure became her greatest breakthrough. I love this story because it reminds us that our greatest strengths often emerge from our most vulnerable moments. That young woman didn't succeed despite the technology failure. She succeeded because of how she responded to it. The obstacle became the way. Today, many of those teens are successful entrepreneurs themselves, mentoring the next generation in their communities. They learned that resilience isn't about avoiding falls, it's about getting back up, even if you have to crawl before you walk again. But here's what we often miss about resilience: it doesn't exist in isolation. None of us were meant to do this alone. This brings me to the second powerful insight from Madeline's work: the transformative power of collective strength. Madeline led an all women creative team that revolutionized brands storytelling in an industry where women's leadership is often questioned or undermined. What made this team exceptional wasn't just their individual talents, it was their radical commitment to collaboration over competition. In an environment where women are often pitted against each other for limited seats at the table. Madeline's team created a different model entirely. They built their own table and made sure everyone had a seat. One team member shared how she'd spent years in environments where she felt invisible, where her ideas were overlooked until a male colleague repeated them. Within Madeline's team, she found her voice amplified rather than muted. Her confidence didn't just grow, it exploded. Their success wasn't just measured in client wins or industry recognition, though they achieved plenty of both. The true measure was how they transformed each other. How women who entered feeling overlooked and underestimated left knowing their full magnificent worth. Their model has become a blueprint for inclusive leadership across creative industries nationally. Why? Because they prove something powerful. When we lift each other, we all rise higher than any of us could alone. This brings me to perhaps the most profound lesson from my conversation with Madeline, one that challenges everything our achievement obsessed culture teaches us. Your worth is not determined by external validation. Let me say that again because I need you to really hear it. Your worth is not determined by external validation. Madeline Cossen's journey illustrates this beautifully. Despite achieving significant financial success as a business mentor, she's remained remarkably grounded. When I asked her secret, her answer was disarmingly simple. I genuinely don't know how to be any other way. Madeline navigated systemic barriers that often hinder underrepresented entrepreneurs. Bias based on race and gender, personal doubts about belonging at high levels of success. Yet rather than seeking external validation to prove her worth, she focused inward, prioritizing authenticity and inner peace. Her journey began far from wealth. Early setbacks taught her that getting back up after every fall wasn't just about resilience. It was about remembering who she was beneath the failures and successes alike. One particularly powerful moment came when a mentee asked Madeline how she maintained her sense of self amid tremendous success. Madeline shared that she keeps a journal where she regularly writes, I am enough exactly as I am, not I will be enough when, or I am enough if, just I am enough. Period. This practice of self affirmation isn't fluffy self help, it's revolutionary self preservation in a world determined to make you doubt your value. The world will try to define you by its standards. It will tell you that you're too loud or too quiet, too ambitious or not ambitious enough, too soft or not soft enough. But your true value comes from within. Self love, self care, reflection, and faith are not luxuries. They're your anchors in the storm. As Madeline puts it, the world will tell you 1,000 times who you are. Your job is to tell it right back who you actually are and then live accordingly. Now, I want to be clear about something. This isn't about toxic positivity or denying real challenges. The barriers many of us face, especially as women, as people of color, as those from marginalized communities, are real and substantial. But here's the truth: we are warriors, strong, resilient, and capable of overcoming adversity together. I'm reminded of a powerful African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. This wisdom echoes through all of Madeline's work, from her teen entrepreneurs to her all women creative team to her individual mentoring relationships. We rise higher when we lift each other. So, where do we go from here? How do we translate these insights into tangible change in our own lives? First, identify one challenge you've been avoiding because it seems insurmountable. That project you've been putting off, that conversation you've been dreading, that dream you've convinced yourself is too big. This week, not someday, not eventually, but this week, commit to taking one small step toward overcoming it, even if that step feels tiny, even if you have to crawl before you walk. Remember the teen entrepreneur whose technology failed? She didn't magically transform into a confident presenter overnight. She built that resilience one presentation at a time, one failure at a time, one getting back up at a time. Second, create your own affirmation of worth, not tied to achievement or external validation. Something that reminds you of your inherent value. Write it down, say it aloud, believe it, even and especially on the days when the world tries to tell you otherwise. Finally, look around you. Who can you lift? Whose voice can you amplify? Whose journey can you support? Remember that in lifting others, you rise too. We are not meant to journey alone. The myth of the solitary hero who achieves greatness through sheer individual will is just that, a myth. Real, sustainable success happens in community. As Madeline Johnson has shown through her work with young entrepreneurs, creative professionals, and business mentees. Our greatest strength lies not just in our individual resilience, but in our collective power. I want to leave you with this thought. In a world obsessed with hardness, hard bodies, hard boundaries, hard metrics, there is revolutionary power in softness, in vulnerability, in the courage to be seen as you truly are. The oak tree that refuses to bend in the storm eventually breaks, but the willow that knows how to sway with the wind, that knows when to stand firm and when to yield, that tree survives to grow stronger. You are both the oak and the willow, strong enough to withstand life's storms, wise enough to know when to bend rather than break, and resilient enough to keep growing toward the light no matter how many times you fall. So I challenge you today. Embrace your warrior spirit, but don't forget to listen for the whisper, the voice that reminds you of your worth beyond achievement, the voice that calls you to lift others as you climb, the voice that knows sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to be soft in a hard world. Get back up, warrior. The world needs your voice, your vision, your unique magic. And remember, even on the days when you have to crawl before you walk, you never, ever have to crawl alone. Your journey is valid, your dreams matter, and you are worthy beyond measure. Not because of what you've achieved, not despite what you've survived, but simply because you are.